Venture into the vastness of interior Alaska, and you find Denali National Park and Preserve. This isn't just a park. It's a staggering expanse covering over 6 million acres, an area larger than the state of New Hampshire. At its heart rises the Alaska Range, crowned by the tallest peak in North America. The landscape here shifts dramatically. It goes from low-lying forests and deciduous taiga to expansive tundra plains, and finally, to vast fields of ice and bare rock clinging to the highest elevations. Dominating this wilderness is Denali itself, standing at a formidable 20,310 feet. But it's not just the peak elevation that sets it apart. Its vertical relief, the distance from base to summit, is the highest of any mountain on Earth, a staggering 18,000 feet. This granite giant is still growing. It's pushed upward by the slow, relentless collision of the North American and Pacific plates, gaining about a millimeter in height each year. Its hard composition helps it resist the forces of erosion that would wear down other mountains. Long before it was a park, this land held deep significance for people. Human habitation in the Denali region stretches back over 11,000 years. Archaeological sites, though sparse within the high-elevation park boundaries, tell a story of ancient hunting camps. Linguistic and archaeological evidence suggests Athabascan peoples have been present in the area for at least 1,500 to 1,000 years, with groups like the Koyukon, Kowayokan, Tanana, Thnana, and Denali being principal inhabitants over the last half-millennium. The push to protect this wild place began in earnest in 1906. Conservationist Charles Alexander Sheldon saw the need to preserve the Denali region. He brought his vision to fellow members of the Boone and Crockett Club, who agreed the time wasn't right for immediate action. Sheldon understood success depended on local support and persistent lobbying, taking the plan to figures like Alaska's Delegate James Wickersham and Assistant Secretary of the Interior Stephen Mather. After years of effort, the bill creating Mount McKinley National Park passed Congress and was signed into law by President Woodrow Wilson on February 26, 1917. Interestingly, the original boundary didn't even include the summit of Denali. Early development included a network of patrol cabins for rangers. Many are still standing and listed on the National Register of Historic Places. A short-lived hotel opened in 1921, visited by President Harding, but eventually succumbed to disrepair and fire. The mountain, and later the park, were initially named Mount McKinley after a U.S. president. This decision met with local criticism from the start. The native Athabascan name, Denali, meaning the high one, had been used for centuries. This naming dispute simmered for decades between Alaska state authorities and the federal government. Alaska officially renamed the mountain Denali in 1980, when the park and monument were combined. But the Federal Board on Geographic Names held out until 2015. That's when President Obama finally directed the Secretary of the Interior to officially change the federal designation to Denali, using long-standing statutory authority. Much of this northern landscape is underlain by permafrost, ground that remains frozen for years. But it's not uniform. Denali's permafrost is discontinuous, varying with local conditions. Above the permanently frozen layer is the active layer that freezes and thaws seasonally. This thaw can cause instability. Look closely, and you might spot a drunken forest, where trees lean at odd angles. Their root systems are no longer stable in the slumping, thawed soil. This permafrost thaw has presented a significant challenge, especially along the park's crucial 92-mile road. At a spot called Pretty Rocks, a landslide has been active for years. As the permafrost thaws, the ground supporting the road moves faster and faster. Park crews hauled in hundreds of truckloads of gravel weekly to keep the road passable. But the slide accelerated to the point where, in August 2021, the road was forced to close beyond mile 45. This severely limits public access to the park's interior, with hopes for reopening not expected until 2026 at the earliest. Ice remains a powerful sculptor here. Glaciers cover about 16% of Denali's vast acreage, carving dramatic features into the landscape. You see cirques, the steep-walled basins where glaciers originate, sharp arêtes, and spire-like horns. The southern side of the range hosts the largest glaciers, like the 30-mile-long Kahiltna, fed by moisture from the Gulf of Alaska. Even the largest glacier on the north side, the 32-mile Muldrow, has a unique characteristic. It surges, moving forward suddenly and rapidly. These glaciers also leave behind massive erratics, granite boulders the size of small houses, carried miles from their origin. Beneath the surface, this region holds secrets from deep time. Geologists studying the Cantwell Formation, a rock layer formed around 100 million years ago, discovered fossil tracks. Not just any tracks. Footprints of hadrosaur, and the Ruzinosaur dinosaurs. This fascinating find suggests the area was once a key migration point, a prehistoric land bridge connecting Asia and North America for these ancient reptiles. Denali pulses with life. It's home to an estimated 300 to 350 grizzly bears north of the range, and perhaps 2,700 black bears. Wolves roam in packs, caribou herds migrate, and Dall sheep dot the mountain slopes. Smaller creatures like marmots and Arctic ground squirrels are common sights. You also find golden eagles soaring overhead, and even wood frogs hiding near thaw lakes. Park rangers work constantly to ensure wildlife stays wild, emphasizing viewing animals from safe distances and strictly forbidding feeding. A truly unique part of the park's heritage involves its four-legged residents. Denali operates the only federal sled dog kennel. These Alaskan Huskies aren't just for show. Their ancestors patrolled the park to prevent poaching and aided in early development. Today, they continue to work in the winter, embodying the traditional mode of travel. And they offer popular demonstrations in the summer, connecting visitors to this living history. Exploring Denali means navigating the single, 92-mile park road. Only the first 15 miles are paved. The rest remains gravel, partly due to the challenges of permafrost. Private vehicles are restricted beyond the Savage River Bridge, requiring visitors to use the park's shuttle bus system. This system was put in place decades ago, as visitation soared following the completion of the George Parks Highway, ensuring a more managed and less impactful experience for both visitors and wildlife. In recent history, Denali saw a unique intersection with popular culture through the story of Christopher McCandless. An abandoned bus he lived in for a time, on the Stampede Trail near the park boundary, became a destination for those inspired by his journey. Recognizing its significance and addressing safety concerns around visitors attempting the trek, the bus was relocated in 2020 to the University of Alaska's Museum of the North. It is now preserved there for public viewing, as a piece of the region's modern narrative.